Hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That podcast. I'm your host, Seb, and today we have ourselves a little guest. He is known as a comedian, Nick Capper.
Hey!
Thanks very much for coming on, mate.
No problem, man. No problem.
So, this is a little podcast about talking about the most embarrassing and sort of awkward experiences in the performance, arts, entertainment industry, all of that stuff.
Yep.
Now, you have a podcast yourself called Phone Hacks.
Yes.
Would you like to explain a little bit what that is?
Yeah, well, the whole podcast is embarrassing, if I could.
I don't know how you guys get through it, seriously. So you have it with your friend Mike.
Yeah.
And you look through a guest or each other's phones each week, and then you do some of the most fucked stuff to each other at the end of each episode.
Yes.
Do you feel embarrassed by anything anymore, or do you feel anything anymore? Because some of the stuff that you've done to each other, I'm sitting there and I'm sweating myself listening to it.
Oh, man, there's a part of me that's like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah?
But every
That'd
now
be
and
nice.
then they'll know how to get me. And I'm like, this is
So you're
awful.
still
I
wriggling
cannot
from
do
that
this.
kind of stuff? Cause,
Yeah, man.
man,
Yeah.
some of the stuff, even just sending it to people that aren't in like the comedian yourself, but
Yeah.
like any of the entertainment industry at all, I'd have a heart
Oh
attack.
man, yeah, it's awful. I got the owner of the Good Chat Comedy Club, Jake.
Oh,
really
yeah.
nice guy. I got him to send a message to comedian Damien Power saying, "Hey mate, we've just renovated the place. Just can you steer clear of these topics like gender
I
politics?"
think I might have listened to that.
Yeah,
Is that the
yeah.
last episode or
last
last
episode.
episode at the time of recording this?
Yeah. And then he said, "Oh, might not hurt for you to dress up a little bit as well." And just seeing him reeling as he
Yeah.
said this text message, just seeing this like,
I'm sitting here wriggling in my seat as you're talking about this just
man,
now.
it was the best, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice when it's not you, I suppose. Yeah.
And I guess there's been some statuses where I've like, when we stopped doing shit to each other's partners.
Yeah.
That was like,
Probably
sometimes
for
I
the
look
best.
back at them and I cringe. Like, I remember Mike got me to send once, like, don't you hate it when your partner farts while you're going down on them? Like, as a Facebook status.
And your partner's nothing to do with this industry as well, then, is
Yeah.
she? Yeah, cool.
So we
she's
stopped that, but I was
really
like,
happy to have
far
that
out.
kind of stuff put
Yeah.
up about her.
Yeah. The earlier episodes are very brutal, very, very harsh.
Anything that's come back and really bit you in the arse?
Probably. I have not really found out. Mike has had a few things bitten him in the ass, which has been brutal. Like he,
I mean, better him than you, I suppose.
got him to retweet porn star statuses.
Yeah, nice.
And,
I don't know. Twitter's such a mess just now. I think that'd be the least of people's worries there now. But
Yeah, no, back
previously.
then. And then some booker saw it. Someone's like, oh, maybe don't retweet porn stars. And he probably lost $3 or $4 grand.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's always nice when it fucking hits you in the wallet as well. Yeah.
So I did feel bad about those, you know, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all for content or whatever it is, eh?
Man, it's all context, yeah.
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 But you've got a pretty decent little following of fans down in, we're in Melbourne just now, I'd say.
Yeah.
Do they ever come up to you and suggest any of the stuff to do to each other?
Yeah, there's a few people, you know, that send things in. Most of the time we just get, you know, cartoons of Shrek having sex or something like that.
Oh, so the high art stuff
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Personal use. Yeah, nice.
There's one particular guy who's like a school teacher in Geelong, Joff, and he, whenever he sends something, we've actually used a lot of them. I'll be
nice.
like, whoa, man, this guy rules. And he's the quietest, nicest guy. And then he'll just send us some of the fuckest things.
School teachers are
Yeah.
quietly like really weird fucking people.
Yeah, man. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I used to work in a theatre restaurant a few years back. And every time at Christmas time, you'd get the school teachers in. They'd be the ones that are constantly coming in, trying to grab people's arses or like
Yeah,
coming
really.
in, sculling like an entire pint of blue cocktail crap and then throwing up all over the place. I think it's just dealing with people's kids all year, man.
Man, it would. It would
turns
drive
something
me
in your
crazy.
head. Oh, I couldn't do it,
You know,
personally.
yeah, they
So,
need to.
You need an outlet like Shrek porn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What theatre restaurant did you work in?
Oh, fuck, you're getting me
Are
to
you
name
let-
names now.
Is it one of the spooky ones?
It was one of the
Oh, really?
vampire-themed spooky ones, yeah.
Oh, wow, in Melbourne.
Yeah, in Melbourne. No
Man.
longer around, but they're still in other locations, but
Far
yeah,
out.
now they closed down.
Man,
For better or worse.
oh man, that's insane. Like, because I know you're interviewing me, but like,
Yeah.
how long did you work in a theater
So
restaurant?
I worked there for a year. I actually worked there until they closed.
Yeah.
So I was there for the final year. Tell you what, like some of the people that come in there, like obviously you get, I
Yeah.
don't know if you want to say, a few fucking weirdos coming to comedy
Yeah.
gigs. Try theatre restaurants, man.
Yeah, man.
It'd be anywhere from like bogans, like proper. You'd get the country bogans coming in buses. They'd be like walking out their little buses with all these Great Northern beers just
Yeah.
flying out the doors as soon as they opened it.
Yeah.
Coming in and just expecting it to be, I don't know what they thought it was, a sex show or something like that. They're coming in and they're like, oh, I want to see some tits. Oh.
Yeah.
A few guys leaving, like groups of guys being like, one group actually left because they're like, sorry mate, like we're family men, this show isn't for us. But to air quotes gay.
Oh,
'Cause There's
really?
a lot of like camp cabaret acts as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
Like there are
yeah.
burlesque stuff, but there's a lot of guys in makeup
Yeah.
telling, you know, flirty jokes. I don't know is the
And
correct
if
way
you,
of saying
like-
this now.
Then you have the other side of the scale where it's full burbs, like buddy, monster drink energy hats. you know.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Fuck. And then you've got your real life vampires as well.
Yeah.
So they come in, they're doing their orgies under the blood moon or whatever it is.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They come in, they've got their actual, because we used to wear these little plasticky teeth, and they
Yeah.
come in with their real properly made teeth and stuff like that, and they sit there and yeah, fuck, some weird people in there, man.
Man, that is
Tell you
killer.
what, the cocktails we sold there, they're just like essentially Monster Energy drink with
Yeah.
a bit of alcohol in them.
Yeah.
The stuff that people would project all over the toilets from every end, every orifice. That's some of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. Genuinely had hazmat suits to clean up some of that stuff. I don't know what was wrong with those people. It was a fun job though. I'm not gonna lie. I did enjoy it.
But you did have fun.
Yeah.
And what, were you in the shows or were you
Nah,
just-
I was
you- a waiter?
yeah. We had specific names for us, but I was a waiter.
Yeah.
So I'd go around in a little mesh tank top and just, you could be, it was like, what's that thing called down here now? Karen's Diner.
Yeah.
They weren't quite as bad as that, but you could go around and be mean to people. It's
Yeah.
like part of the show. So like anyone that's a dick to you, you could just be a proper dick back. You're like, oh, this is part of the act.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then,
Far out.
yeah,
That's awesome.
He just sort of became that as part of you. So you're just mean to people all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're always kind of playing this kind of weird, sorry, I'm taking up so much of your interview now.
No. This is great. I love this.
Playing this weird character, so like it was always like somebody'd say thank you, I'd be like, oh no, thank you. And then I kind of became part of my like vernacular for a
Yeah.
little while, unfortunately. And we went to go and see, you ever heard of the World Naked Bike Race? So all these people cycle around Melbourne. It's all over the world, but
Oh,
they
yeah, I
cycle
have
around
seen that.
naked. So myself and a couple of friends were in a park one day where they finished up by, where was it, like Carlton Gardens or something like that.
Yeah.
And they were all getting photos taken and sort of nobody was really interacting with them. It was a bit,
Yeah.
a lot of middle-aged men standing with their cocks out. Most people don't really want to make eye contact.
Yeah.
And then one guy was like, oh, does anyone want a hug? And then he just stood there by himself naked for like 30 seconds and nobody said anything to him. And I was like, oh, I'll give you a hug, mate. So I gave him a hug and he's like, oh, thank you. And I went, oh, no, thank you. And I was like, oh, fuck, that was the creepiest thing I've ever done. And I was like, it's just because it was so ingrained in my mind from Dracula. So yeah, if that guy's out there listening, I'm genuinely sorry if I made you feel uncomfortable. But yeah, fuck, that was...
Oh, man.
yeah.
At least you could see if he was excited or not, you know?
Yeah, no, I think it actually went back in a little bit after I said that, to be honest with you. I know mine did. But I stopped talking about my embarrassing
man,
stuff.
no,
Fuck,
no.
we're here to talk about your embarrassing
Because
stuff.
I thought if I didn't do comedy, I probably would be doing something like that.
Yeah, theatre
Definitely.
restaurants.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
few still kicking around Melbourne. I think you could probably...
I definitely would.
If it doesn't work out, you could go in there.
I'm always amazed at people that open these things. Like,
I think they're a bit cooked in the brain themselves, to be honest with you.
yeah, man, yeah. Like, you've got people that are just they must make a lot of money.
You'd hope so, right?
Because sometimes you see stuff like that, or you see. I'm always fascinated by those big, like, kids parks. How they're just in a big shed.
yeah, right?
And they
it-
just have
foam
bouncing
walls and everything
balls
like that.
Yeah, bouncing things.
You ever
and
been
stuff
to any
like
of
that.
them before? They're fucking fun, man.
Man, it looks amazing. Yeah, but you would have to have like full ear protection.
Yeah, right.
Like that'd be the screaming, and you'd have to hose it out every day.
The number of kids that go to that thing with their parents who have not done any like physical activity in, I want to say like 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
I used to live up in Canberra and they opened up one of those places up there.
Yeah.
And I became kind of friendly with one of the guys that worked there.
Yeah.
I just chatting to him one day. I was like, so what's like the worst thing that's ever happened here? Just injury wise. It was like one of those trampoline parks as well.
Yeah.
It's like this very large woman came in once with it was like a work team building exercise.
Yeah.
She was on the trampoline and just landed with her leg straight and snapped it in half at the femur. Yeah. So
Oh my God.
It was trying to get her, because she no other way of getting off the trampolines rather than kind of like awkwardly doing that weird walk over the trampolines, trying to drag her off as her, like the femur's the top half of the leg for anyone that's unsure. So just having that flopping around the place.
Oh my
Turned
God.
my stomach. I mean, I've seen a few injuries in my time, but that's just even hearing that's fucking
That's got to be
disgusting.
the worst.
Yeah, right. So
Man.
yeah, if you land on a trampoline, try and bend your legs.
Man, you've had quite an exciting journey in Australia.
Yeah,
you
no,
were-
it's a
lived
bit
in
of fun, to be
Canberra and then
honest.
theatre, restaurant, now
Yeah.
stuntman, actor. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
stuntman sounds a lot more interesting. It is a lot of the time. A lot of the time, I'm just there. I'll go to throw one punch. The main character will punch me over and have to lie in the dirt for 3 days. So it's one of those things. Stuntman sounds glorious or like really glamorous even, but then sometimes you're just there for continuity. So if you get knocked out, you just have to lie down in whatever the ground is.
Yeah.
So one of the most recent shoots I was on, I got shot and I had to die.
Yeah.
So that means that you're dead, and then they continue filming the rest of the scene around you, and the
Yeah.
rest of the scene had a fair bit of dialogue. So I
Yeah.
got shot and then fell down really close to a bullet ant's nest.
Oh.
So I was sitting there just sweating, trying every little thing creeping on me. I was trying not to move. Then halfway through the day, it started raining. So we took a break, came back, and where I had been lying, no more bull ant's nest now, but there
Yeah.
was a little river. So I just lay in a little river, the wettest arse. The whole drive home, I just had like, I was like, oh, I don't want to get like an infection or anything like that. Just being like calling into work the next day, being like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I got a mad case of swamp arse. I don't know if you need to put that down for the insurance form or anything like that.
Man, that's so funny. Like,
Yeah.
And that is the lamest stuntman story I've
I
ever
know,
heard.
right?
Yeah,
It really is, isn't it?
Man, usually I'm doing a backflip off a fucking...
I'm on fire. I'm fucking
on
crashing
fire,
through a
yeah,
wall.
yeah.
It's like, no, I got a
Yeah.
heck. I didn't get swamp arse for anyone listening as well.
Yeah.
I do not have swamp arse.
Yeah.
Please do not come at me with that. But
Well, not after it.
not
Maybe
after
before.
it. I've had it many times.
Yeah.
It's just not from that job. I currently have it. It's going to be like fucking 38 degrees today. So, but yeah, no, sorry. Why are we talking about me?
No.
We got you. You've done. I mean, saying that I've done a few interesting things. I mean, what you travelled around Europe in a tuxedo. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
wanting to burn any of this kind of stuff because I
No,
know that you
no,
had a
no,
show
no,
about it, but.
No, it's fine. I did a travel around the world in a tuxedo. I had to go and the Little Dum Dum Club podcast. We're doing a live show in England, and then they said, like someone said, oh, what if we get Kappa over? I was one of the guests that was on there a lot.
It's nice to be invited on things, isn't it?
Mate, yeah. And we were like, oh, look, we can't afford it. If I had to go, I'd have to go the shittest way possible.
I mean, content, right?
Yeah. So I have to go, want to get one of those crazy flights through China and
20 different stopovers.
yeah,
Sleeping in
that's
a
it.
goat shed kind of a deal.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it, man. Yeah. But then they were like, then there was a guy who was a travel agent, a listener, and he put together this itinerary that was so shit. It was like land in China. No, it was through Malaysia, land in China, catch a train in China. And it was kind of non-stop. So I got to China. I had to, and then fly from China to Poland, and then from there to Serbia, and then
See, so these are mostly like some of these countries I wouldn't mind visiting. Some of the other countries, I don't know if you could get me to go to them. I won't
They're
say
all
which
pretty
is which.
good, I'd say.
Yeah, okay.
It was hard. I guess somewhere like China, people go, "Hey Nick, have you been to China?" And I'm like, yes and no. Like, I got there, we got in a taxi,
The inside of an airport.
traveled an hour to the train station from the airport.
So you weren't just exclusively airports as well then. You were all over the place.
Yeah, no, I caught a train in China.
Did you ever find anyone giving you the old side eye? I mean, it was a full tuxedo as well. I mean,
Well, that's it. Yeah. So the journey was a whole lot more expensive, and I was like, well, I definitely can't do it now. I
Yeah.
said, if you raise that much money, I'd do it in a tuxedo.
yeah.
Anyway, I ate my words later on, and
But again, a fun little experience, right?
man,
Yeah.
it was really cool. I loved it. Like it was a lot of fun.
Do you find people were pretty welcoming to this large, strange white dude traveling through their tiny little province in a full-on tuxedo?
No, it was. I got a lot of looks. Yeah, not many people were that into it really. And
Yeah.
plus, like, people would give me more money if I did dares. So one of the dares was to wear makeup. So I kind of looked
Oh,
like,
nice.
yeah,
Oh, so no one's approaching you no matter what then in
Yeah,
that case.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. No, I definitely would. I mean, if you sat next to me on a flight, I'd be fucking terrified of
yeah,
this
man,
with you.
yeah. I started looking more like Boy George.
Oh,
or,
nice.
Or Robert Smith in his later career.
Oh, so you've kind of gone from the crazy point to be like, maybe this guy's just an eccentric star.
Yeah, exactly. And because I had full tails as well, like
Nice.
that kind of tuxedo that upgrades the insanity.
Yeah, like proper, like pianist, like
Yeah.
performing concert,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
traveling outfit. Yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah, no. That upgrades the insanity by about 30%. Yeah. So
Did you ever have anyone actually asking you about it?
about the tuxedo.
Why you're doing this? Yeah.
Oh no, I don't think so.
Ah, cool.
Most people stayed away from me, or I stayed away from them.
fair
People. It got really tough. Probably 4 days in.
Yeah.
because I was constantly going.
By yourself as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You
So.
ever- and I mean, like, I'm not meaning disrespect. Look in the mirror at one point and go, "The fuck am I doing?"
Oh man, so many times.
Yeah.
But it was the greatest experience ever. Like, I guess I just turned 40, and you kind of get a bit depressed when you get.
Oh, so that was your midlife crisis then?
yeah,
nice.
yeah. You're like, fuck. And then my mum rang me, and I was like, I should have a house by now. Or I should have some kids.
Yeah, I know.
I've got
Choosing this
nothing,
career
I've
path
got-
can be a little bit fucking depressing
Hardly-
sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, yeah. I was like, and then she's like, look at all the stuff you've done.
All the fucking
Like,
countries that you got to visit. This was pre-pandemic as well, right? So, like,
Yeah.
imagine traveling that much now.
Yeah.
It'd be a fucking delight.
Man, it was awesome, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Actually, I have done a bit, because I did.
Yeah.
After that one, well, I went. I guess, yeah. So I caught 3 trains through Europe, and then I
Those European trains are.
went from France to England by
Yeah.
boat.
Oh, did you catch the ferry over as well? Did you?
man.
Yeah, nice.
And didn't realise that boat is just for people who want to get their cars across.
Yeah, right.
So I didn't see any people on the boat.
No, everyone sits in their car.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
fucking funny.
And that's a what, 8-hour trip, if that as well.
Yeah, I don't think it was that long.
Ah,
It was
okay.
long though. Yeah.
It's been a
but
fair
it was-
whack of time. That's most of the
hilarious.
time just used for people smuggling cigarettes in from the EU back into Britain. So
Yeah, man. Yeah. So,
you got a lot of
yeah.
nothing people
Yeah.
on there. People trying to keep their heads down.
yeah.
Yeah, I
It was-
suppose if anyone's going to get interviewed on that boat when they arrive, it'd probably be you rather than that one guy that's got 500 cigarettes stashed underneath his car.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they nearly didn't. Because I had to tell them I wasn't working in the UK.
This is purely pleasure.
Yeah.
This trip, yeah. You not
And
see that?
I did work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. And then I got back and I did it again. I went from
shit.
Melbourne to Newcastle in a tuxedo because the Dum Dum
nice.
Club were having a live show in Newcastle.
Catch the train.
Yeah, caught the train. I did it by a heap of different modes of transport. I did it car, train, then bus, then a listener drove me.
Oh, nice. Or at least they knew what you were up
Mildura
to then.
to Broken Hill, and then
Oh,
I flew
nice.
from Broken Hill to when I fly to Dubbo or somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then I got a ride in. No, yeah, flew from Broken Hill to Griffith. Then I got a ride to Dubbo, and then I rode a motorbike.
Oh, nice.
I drove a tractor for a part of the way. Yeah,
'Cause you're
heaps of listeners gave me. Yeah, they were like, "Oh, I got a tractor you can use." Oh yeah, I live
yeah.
here. I got a motorbike you can use, and then yeah.
So, being purely Australia, did you get a little bit more interactions with people on the old public transport at all there?
Yeah, man. I had a lot more interactions, and I think it was a kind of just as crazy adventure, I'd say.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Anyone know what a podcast is in regional Australia?
Man, nah. Explaining the whole thing was a fucking nightmare.
Whenever I have to try and chat, I've traveled around to the least interesting places around Australia to do certain like little jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I went up to where was it? Euston. You ever been to Euston before?
Oh, well,
It's up on the border of New South Wales and Victoria.
yeah.
Yeah. Went up there to film a farming video.
Yeah.
Actually trying to explain to people, they're like, oh, you're an actor then. You're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
"Oh, you should try being on Neighbours. You're like, oh, didn't think of that one. Thanks, mate.
Yeah. There's so many people that are like, oh, yeah, you should do this.
Yeah, yeah, like,
You're
oh, cool.
I'll put in a call.
Oh, Steven Spielberg. Hey, mate, are you casting anyone just now? Oh, yeah, pop over.
It's real funny because you look down on all those shows
Yeah, I know, right?
and then you get acting and then you're like, oh, fuck, I'd love a full-time gig like
Yeah, I know.
Neighbours.
Right? Fuck, I'd love one episode of Neighbours, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Calling up the producers, just being like, oh, hey, do you need a kind of weird Scottish guy for one episode?
Yeah.
But so you're predominantly stand-up as well, though, just now.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I kind of fell into acting a bit.
Yeah, nice.
I've
I think a
been
lot
on
of people
few
do.
commercials.
Multi-hyphens or what are like.
Yeah, man.
You
Yeah,
get a
I've got
lot
to
of the-
actually get into it a bit more. I don't bloody update my showcast or anything. I looked
Nah,
at my
that's
reel. It's
classic.
like
Yeah.
the credits from like 10 years ago. So yeah,
Nice.
I got to maybe update all that stuff. But yeah, it's fun, man.
You got a lot of the TVC commercials then in that case where you turn up and you have to pretend to sit there and pat a dog that's not actually there and laugh to a wife that you don't have.
yeah, that's it.
Those things. And again, like I say this every episode, I'm not complaining. I love actually having like
Yeah.
auditions and stuff like that. But some of the stuff you turn up and you actually have to do, you're like, fuck, this is awful. You leave,
man.
like you don't do it as much anymore. It's all like self-tape, so you record it yourself
Yeah.
and send it in. But when you used to turn up into their offices all the time, just walk out sometime and just like catch a glimpse of myself in a like window of a car and just be like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? You had any real interest in TV commercial or any auditions even with them? Doesn't have to be for the old TV commercials, but some of those ones really stick with me, I think.
Man, yeah, I guess I've had a lot of interesting ones. There was one where we had to do like karate kicks,
Oh, fun.
you know, and like wrestle each other, you know. And I was there with another
legitimate
comedian.
commercial.
And yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what we thought it was. We
Yeah.
thought, oh, maybe, because sometimes I go into an audition
Yeah.
and I see that everyone there looking professional and
Yeah.
they make you do something stupid like that. Like,
I know.
wrestle. And maybe we walk out and they're just rich people and they're like, oh, yeah, that was fun.
I've done a fair few like that as well.
Yeah,
and imagine
yeah.
with yourself being a comedian,
Yeah.
they'd be like, oh no, he can do the funny parts. He'll come in and happily make a fool of himself.
Yeah.
Like I've gone up for a few comedy roles as well and stuff like that. And you leave and you're like, that's like, them recording that is the whole thing, isn't it? That's not going anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like they're just sitting at home
Yeah.
and laughing at that, like washing themselves with $100 notes and being like these
Oh, man.
dipshit peasants that we've just made wrestle each other and then pretend to kiss.
I had
never-
community. I worked at community television once, and,
that
you know,
is
in the sales department, and I was terrible at it. But they just had me around. They liked having me around. They said I was good morale for the team or whatever.
Oh, like a mascot then. Nice.
Yeah. So, but one like, oh, you know, they were such legends who all work there.
Yeah.
Like, you think that. Like, they do believe in community TV and they love it.
Yeah.
But then there's like, I was like, do you get any people? Because anyone can apply to put on a show there.
Anyone. Presumably you've seen a few of the shows as well then.
Oh, man. They gave me this disc.
Oh, really?
They like, gave me this disc and they're like, this is the master collection of the auditions we get.
That's
And
gold. I
just-
don't know if you could ever like release that. Like dark web style, people pay $200 to see it or something like
Oh,
that.
I would. It was like funnier
love
than
that.
any comedy I've ever seen.
That's the thing as well. And I don't mean to sound mean or anything like that. Like people are out there trying as well, but you do watch some things people have made and you're like, at least I'm not that. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sound mean, but my God, some of it's fucking...
Oh, man, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Like, perfect stuff. And I look back on the stuff I've made and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, man, that's awful.
Yeah.
But I think what I've found and what you might find, I don't know if you've shot your own stuff, man,
Yeah, done a few things.
is you've got to kind of doing something and it's awful
Yeah.
is way better than just not doing anything.
That's it as
Because
well,
you just
isn't it?
learn and you
Yeah.
can always remake it.
And as well, like you're gonna like, oh, this is gonna come back and bite me in the. Everybody has awful stuff out there, regardless of who they are. I mean,
Yeah.
like from the fucking biggest stars to like, I don't know, the weirdest little fringe people in this industry. Like, everyone's made crap. Whether it's your fault or it's not your fault, or you've been in something, that's like, it's fucking fun to watch back sometimes.
Yeah.
I studied acting back, like, what was it, 2010-ish and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
just looking back at some of the like short films from back then, I'm like, fuck, if this ever sees the light of day, I'm gonna genuinely take myself to the Westgate Bridge and throw myself off.
Oh, man.
It's the worst stuff ever. I know, maybe I'll work up the courage one day to actually show like clips of it on the socials, but it's fucking terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I got once cast. Speaking of stories like this, I got cast once in a film, a lead role.
Oh, nice.
And the guy was like the weirdest guy I'd ever met in my life.
They always are.
He was like a young guy. He was nice enough to me, but he was full like, I don't know where I sit with you. Do you like me? Do you hate me?
But like,
It was very stunted conversations.
yeah, okay,
Very weird kind of guy.
yeah.
And I thought he wasn't going to deliver, but he delivered. We rocked up and there's a set there.
Oh,
They had
nice.
no art department or anything,
Oh, classic, yeah.
And he said, I'm going to give you this amount of money. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's good.
Paid work. I'd
Yeah.
take that. Fuck, if it was dog shit, I'd take that as well, to be honest with you.
Oh, man, yeah. And I was like, far out, this is sick. Like, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'd been put in this movie. And then, yeah, just more, I had a few clueless people working on it.
Yeah.
And no art department or anything like that.
It's when the crew list is smaller than the cast list. That's when you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but thank God I had the sound guys that knew kind of what was going on. They would laugh at
Oh, okay,
how
nice.
terrible this movie was.
It's nice to have insiders like that as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you can just have a bit of a laugh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever see the end product?
No, man, I regret it. My friends and I all wanted to watch it because I basically had a group chat of things I would send them each day that
nice.
happened.
I've had a few like that
So
as well.
the guys would bully the other lead actor.
Oh,
they would
shit.
bully him.
It's like on camera or
Off camera,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
And they would do like childish stuff. And it kind of was like, he was doing his best. He was working hard. But also it was kind of funny. But sometimes they teased him about, they shot a part of it in his house. Like,
the lead actor's house.
Yeah.
This is a little tip for anyone that's like up and coming in the industry. Never let anyone shoot anything in your house.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever respect your house. People will be accidentally elbowing like holes in your wall. No matter what crew it is, there's always someone on there that has the worst diet, and your toilet will never be the same again after they use it as well.
And it's
fucked.
people are disgusting.
But yeah, sorry, you were saying that they were filming in his house.
Yeah, and they saw he had bionicles, those little transformer things.
I feel less bad for this guy
and
getting
then
bullied
fucking
now.
just ripped into him constantly. And one of them said, I was meant to say some line.
Yeah.
And they're like, Mink, I'll give you $50 if you say, go in your house and get your bionicles or whatever. And I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I should have done it, but I didn't. But I was like, far out. This guy is ready to walk. I've got to fucking work with him. But also taught me, like, no matter what situation, I think the easy thing is to go, well, this is clearly shit. I'm just going to rock up and
Have fun.
just do what I want. But then I think it's a lot harder and a lot better to just put effort into it.
It's the funny thing as
lot
well,
more
because like,
difficult.
especially if other people are taking the piss out of you, when you're like, no, I'm going to make this the best I can. And then you're like, okay, like absolutely do that. But then it never sees the light of day and stuff like that. And like, do the best you can, I think, for what it is a lot of the time. And I wish I was a little bit more like that as well. Cause you're like, sometimes you do rock up on sets and it's like 3 people that are the crew.
Yeah.
In a quotation marks. And then they're like, yeah, we're just filming in my mum's shed.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, cool. And you're like, yeah, it's under a flight path, but sound's not that important.
Yeah.
And then their mum comes out, or like, oh, we got you some lunch. I'm celiac. And they're like,
Yeah.
I don't know what gluten-free is. So I saw this gluten-free on it, and they give you a whole loaf of banana bread. That's gluten-free. That's actually happened to me once before. And I'm like, I'm probably not going to eat that for lunch, but thank you.
Yeah.
And then, just some real interest. Like, there are great little, like, independent stuff like that, but then there's some fucking weird stuff as well.
Oh, man. Yeah. No, like sometimes now I know I can kind of judge whether they're a weirdo or not.
Yeah.
Or what I'm going to get, at the end of it. But
it's nice having online presence with a lot of people. So you look at a lot of their past stuff now, and you're just like, oh, this is dog shit.
Yeah. Well, I felt sorry. It was hard to keep a level of professionalism on there.
Yeah.
Like they had a makeup lady, and the lady was so nice. But she loved goth stuff and dark stuff. And the other lead actor, the girl, my love interest, I guess.
Yeah.
She was a beautiful girl. She had great natural looks.
Yeah.
But they were like, she's the evil one. She fucks you over. So therefore, she's got to have kind of significant. So she ended up just looking like this weird clown. Like someone would never look like that in real life. So there I am, just sitting in a car with this kind of clown woman.
Hot clown.
Yeah. It was very funny.
Very mixed feelings.
So there was that, and then also, but as I was showing, my point was before was the cinematographer was just fantastic. No matter how weird and shit the conditions were, the guy was a top-notch professional.
Proper professional. That is always nice to work with those people as well, hey?
Oh, such a great guy.
They're the ones that usually go on, and then like 3 years later, you're like, oh, fuck, they're working on a big TV show.
Yeah, I think he started getting a lot more work in India. He was going across to India. So, I forget his name, Mark something. But he showed me a lot on that. I was like, oh, cool. No matter how bad it is,
it's always nice being able to take away something good from... Doesn't sound like a terrible experience, but it sounds like a pretty terrible project.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's funny as well, like you were saying with the lead actress, like some of the stuff that those smaller productions do are so heavy-handed with that, and you're just like, oh, so like they're a bad person, so they have to be wearing like black eyeliner and stuff like that. It's just so like, I don't know, it's so heavy-handed, and I was in this little short film. It was actually a good one for once. Not for once, sorry for anyone that I've worked with before. Like, it was actually a good one. And I went to a film festival, and they were interviewing this other director, and the other director's film had like a lady. She was a bit like airy fairy hippie type, and she wore rose tinted glasses, and she was a little bit more on the nerdy side. And the interviewer was like to the director, he's like, oh, so like you've used this lady, like she's the ethereal person, she's seeing the world through rose tinted glasses, is that why you're using the rose tinted glasses? And the director's like, oh no, she was a nerd, so I just gave her glasses that I had. And you're like, all right, fair enough, man. People read so deeply into some of that stuff, and you're like, nah, she's a nerd, so she just has to wear glasses.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I do enjoy those little things as well personally. They're just squirreled away from my own memory, just being like, oh fuck, that was
you gotta be, I don't know how you do it, I guess, but you gotta be like Bong Joon-ho to do that stuff.
I know, right?
You got to be like,
like a savant.
Yeah, all that stuff. You've got to. Getting it right is so fucking hard. Like,
and again, like you're saying, there's a lot of getting it wrong before you get it right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of time people just stick to the getting it wrong part and then never make it through to the getting it right part.
Also, I think you got to have like things like a dynamite script and stuff, and then you can screw with that stuff. I think people put the cart before the horse a bit more.
Oh, people fart out a script in one day and be like, oh, this is a generally all right idea, right? Yeah, let's make this. And you're like, yeah, cool, thanks. Thank you. I think I'm busy that weekend, but
and then it's good. I recently did a film clip for the Murlocs.
Oh, nice.
The band, the guy from King Gizzard, and a guy tracked me down off Instagram for that.
Nice.
I think he was a podcast guy. He's a phone hacks guy. But he got me on that, and the budget was really small.
Yeah.
He had his girlfriend cooking on it, but it was one of the best projects I've ever done.
I think it's when it's people properly passionate about that kind of stuff. And again, like they come from a super creative background as well, so they're actually able to make something like that. And I suppose like music videos don't really have to be like a narrative or anything like that. So you just have fun, and it's super different.
Yeah, well, that's the coolest thing is this one had like a narrative kind of.
Cool.
But, it was super loose, as they all are. But it was like, oh, this is true creativity. Like what this guy's making, like seeing the shots, I'm like, far out. This is a vision in his head.
Yeah.
And,
it's nice to work on stuff like that as well.
Oh, man, it was so cool.
Stuff you're actually like proud to post a little clip on Instagram.
Oh, man, so
proud. The other stuff you're just removing your names on the IMDb credits.
Yeah. I think also comedy is like very, a lot of people in comedy, we're all like, look, I don't want to speak for everybody, but we're all a bit spoiled. Yeah. We're all a bit used to getting our own way, and fall in with the comedy crowd.
Yeah.
then
you
you
make
don't.
things for yourself, like by yourself. Like you're not having a lot of, well, presumably, not
Yeah.
a lot of other people coming in and being like, you have to do this, stand
Yeah.
here, say this at a certain time. So you're a lot freer in that respect, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you are a lot freer. Yeah. So, yeah, and it causes you to just look inside of comedy.
Yeah.
Whereas that,
Yeah.
I like hung out with those guys. I'm like, oh, maybe I should look outside of comedy, the comedy circles. You think you're only going to get opportunities within that circle.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, I made friends with the guy and stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like, man, I would like to do a film clip. I would like to write one.
Yeah,
You know,
that
like,
stuff's great as well. And
Yeah.
like, I think like stand up, you're so by yourself as well.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are either given funny scripts or are funny on camera. Try and do the other thing as well. Like maybe I should try stand up.
Yeah.
And you get, I mean, I don't know if you see it a lot as well, but you get people that be like, my friends told me I'm funny, so I'm going to come and do this open mic to
Yeah.
3 people. And then it's just the most fucking, crippling, like, anxiety, like watching them. I had this one Uber driver once, like, I don't mean to generalize, but whenever you get a white guy Uber driver, you're like, oh, fuck, I'm in trouble.
I'm in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was driving me back. It was only about a 15-minute drive. And I don't know what you say to Uber drivers, what your job is, like whether you lie or sometimes. I accidentally told this guy I'm an actor.
Yeah.
Like I was just tired and he's like, oh, what'd you do for work? And he's like, oh, cool. And he was like, oh, I'm going to be a stand-up. And I was like, oh, cool. And he's like, yeah. Do you know the Edinburgh Fringe? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Like I've performed in it a couple of times. I'm from Edinburgh and I know it quite well. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go over there next year and sell at my shows. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he was like, yeah, Stephen K. Amos, he did like a full run of the Fringe and he sold out all the shows. So I'll probably just go over there and it might be a little bit quieter to start off with. And then like it'll get word of mouth and then I'll start selling out all my shows. And I was like, man, I've been to some shows there where you're the only person, you're sitting in somebody's living room watching somebody sweat through a 1-person monologue for an hour. And I'm like, mate. And then it's like, oh, okay, cool. And I was like, have you done much stand-up then? And he's like, oh, I did an open mic once and I brought all my friends along and they always tell me I'm funny, but none of them really laughed. And I knew that I was funny, so I called them out on it whilst I was on stage and they didn't laugh at it. And it was just, they were just wrong. And I was like, oh, honestly, I was like, fuck, just end the trip here. I'm happy to walk home.
I want to find out the results. I don't know.
Guarantee you. He also said that he was going to become rich from Spotify. All you needed to make was one great song, and then the amount of revenue that comes in from people listening to it all the time, you just live off of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy, I'm genuinely just happy he didn't murder me and try and wear my face, to be honest with you. But like coming from comedy, you don't really have anyone else to fall back on when something doesn't go quite right.
No.
Do you have any gigs that stick out in your mind which are just a fucking nightmare?
Oh man, heaps. And it's so comedy it's really bad, but it's also really good.
Yeah, you got the two ends of the spectrums, right?
I guess this has happened to me with acting as well, but
Yeah.
probably when you do acting, you're not doing comedy acting. So you're not going for the laugh, you're just going for the...
Everyone has to be quiet on set anyway, so like if you get a little laugh then you're like, oh, that did well, but otherwise you're like, oh no, everyone has to be quiet.
Yeah. So what do you go for? Do you go, when you do a real good scene, is there like clapping at the end of the take? People are like, fuck yeah.
If anyone
Or there's
applauds
like
me, I fucking hate it, I'll be honest with you. And it's nice, I get why they do it. Like on...
So you have been applauded before after a take?
Oh, a couple of times. But like,
man, that's great.
It's a humble brag right there. Yep. But like it happens occasionally, and I don't want it to happen because I always feel like it's like I don't know if people are doing it out of obligation or not. And it's the same whenever like you're wrapped. So wrapped just means essentially like for anyone listening that like you've finished the project and you're no longer needed to film it anymore. So people give you a big round of applause. I always feel like such a dickhead. I'm like, as an actor, I've been sitting here, like people bringing me coffees. I've said like 4 lines a day.
Yeah.
This guy on camera or on sound has been standing up for 12 hours, hasn't been to the bathroom once. Like, I don't even know if he's had lunch.
Man.
He's worked so much harder than I have.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a round of applause because I turned up and I was like, hey, Josh, how's your day going today? And then I get a round of applause for that. I always feel like such a dickhead.
Oh man, yeah, exactly. And I'm I'm not even a professional like you.
Yeah.
And I fuck up the craziest stuff. Like,
I'm the same.
I can't even get through life, and the directors just, man,
everyone's so nice to you as well, aren't they? They're like, oh no, that was all right. You walk on and you're like, was I meant to pick up that can? Sorry. And they're like, no, it's okay. We'll go again. It's nice. And then you see somebody in the background, like a wardrobe assistant, just getting bollocked at because like, where the fuck is that costume? I meant to have that 4 hours ago. Blah. And you're like, Oh boy, I feel like I'm spoiled.
Yeah, yeah.
Such a child.
Well, that's kind of like, I guess in comedy you are, you're going for that laugh.
Yeah,
You're going for it.
hope
And,
so at least, right?
you know, and I can definitely say if you've been applauded after a take, man, it's
Yeah.
definitely not due to them, you know, being nice, because I've been on sets
Yeah.
where I'm the comedy actor
Yeah.
and there's been another actor and they've got way more laughs than me. And you can see it in them. Like, as soon as the take finishes,
That's
they're
when
like,
you
ha, ha,
bring
ha.
them. You're like, oh, you're actually really fun. You should come and do a set with me tonight, and then really
Man.
put them in their place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. What's his name? Mark something. He's like a comedy actor. I forget his name. Another Mark.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a good mate of mine. He runs an animation studio at the moment, but
Oh, nice.
he was destroying me.
Oh, really?
Man, on this ad. Like, he was the funniest guy on there.
Isn't it funny sometimes when
Yeah.
they bring in people and you're like, as a comedian yourself, you're like, I'm a comedy background, I'd be fucking hilarious. But then, like, for myself, from like an acting background, you get on and then they've just got like, you're playing a tradie and they're like, oh, you just got this real tradie to do this as well.
Yeah.
And they're doing so much fucking better than you.
Oh,
And everyone's
man,
like,
yeah.
that guy's great. And you're
Yeah.
like, fuck, what am I doing with my life, man? I can't even act like I know how to use a power drill. Like, fuck.
Well, that's it, man. That's kind of as you were saying. I guess in terms of doing bad gigs and things like that, comedy is so humbling because sometimes, like, from recent experience, right?
Yeah.
I did a couple of I got testicular cancer.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And
That's-
I've been doing a lot of gear about that and
Yeah.
stuff. And some of it's sad, but most of it's pretty upbeat.
Yeah.
And then I got a bit of rude stuff
Yeah.
like that. So this guy booked me for my first corporate. You know, it was like
fucking corporates.
at a soccer club.
Oh, okay, nice.
I was like, this is going to be awful.
Yeah.
I get up there and I crush it. Like,
Oh,
so good.
Fuck yeah.
I would not believe myself as a corporate comedian.
Yeah.
I'm loving it, right?
Corporate gigs as well, not
Yeah.
to button on the story, but just for anyone listening, they are a fucking mixed bag.
They are a real
lot of the
mixed
time,
bag.
the person that books you, I presume that they're probably like a fan of you. Otherwise, they just kind of find like funny person and they'll be like, all right, that would do. Get them in.
Oh, man.
And it's just to Jeannie, who's in accounts and she's in her 50s and doesn't like anything that's funny. She just likes to watch Selling Sunsets.
Yeah, yeah.
Going up there, trying to make them laugh and stuff like that. That must be fucking brutal.
Yeah, man.
But that actually went well for you.
It went well, and then I did another one that was going to look like it was going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
It was like in an office where, you know, it was for a TV place, and
Oh, okay, so not so bad then, yeah.
yeah, but that went great, and I was like, oh man, I'm killing it. Like,
Yeah.
they should hand me more corporate gigs.
All you need is that little bit of boosting confidence, and then the next one you get will be the worst fucking thing that's ever happened to
Oh
you.
man, I did this tiles one. you
Oh, really?
Months later, this tiles company for this Christmas party.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was weird. Like, it was, and I like. So this is me. I'm thinking, Nick, you're a good comedian. You're
Yep.
using this cancer thing as a weapon because people
Yeah.
shut up. Then they're like, oh,
Yeah,
shut up.
I have to listen. I'm
But
not gonna-
then I was doing it, and 3 minutes in, I was like, why did he even get me for this gig? Like, I am awful.
how
Like,
long
I'm-
was it? How
I'm
long were you
weird.
booked for?
Yeah. I was booked for 15, 20 minutes, right?
3 minutes into a 15, 20-minute set is nothing. Like,
Oh,
that's
man.
so much time
I'm like,
to fill if
why
no
am
one's
I
paying
here?
attention.
I'm fucking awful, you know?
Yeah.
And you start stammering on your words. You're not confident. You realize that everything you say is either about cancer or it's dirty.
Yeah.
You've got no
And Christmas parties as well. No matter what the entertainment is or
Yeah.
wherever people go, they just want to get pissed and either like heckle each other, or if there's someone on stage or like someone doing something, they'll just shout out some of the worst fucking things you've ever heard in your life.
oh man, yeah.
Yeah. Like back to the theatre restaurant, we'd always get a lot of Christmas parties in.
Yeah.
And the number of slurs that people would shout to people on stage, I'm like,
Yeah.
is this a fucking like hidden camera show? This is like
Yeah.
2019 or whatever it is. And like, how are people still using these words?
Yeah.
Fucked.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So-
not till you go on TikTok or the Burbs till
Yeah,
you
right.
realize, like, because I still got a day job sometimes. I
Yeah.
do labor hire.
Yeah.
And you go to a you'll go to some place just near the airport.
Yeah, right.
Like Keilor or somewhere like that. Not even that far out
Just
of Melbourne.
outside, I'd say maybe a 5 kilometer radius of the center of Melbourne. You
Yeah.
get out that far and you're like,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a bubble like
Yeah,
I
right.
live in. You know,
Yeah.
like everyone, no one else gives a shit.
Do you ever? I also work casual jobs sometimes as well. Do you ever tell them that you're a stand-up or a podcaster or any of this stuff that's actually interesting about you, but will be fucking torn apart as soon as they find out?
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I never tell anybody.
Yeah, I
I
know.
never
That's
tell.
the safest
and
thing.
thank God I've never. I was recognised once.
Oh, really?
I was packing up a a warehouse. You know,
nice.
there's just been one of those trade shows there. And the
I've
forklift
worked a
guy
fair
was
few
like,
of trade shows as well. Yeah, fuck.
It's fun work.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
You got a lot of rough as guts people working those things,
Man.
though, huh?
Yeah, they're just sent in like monkeys, like in and
Yeah,
out.
genuinely. Like,
Fucking pack this down, pack it up. You think they just leave it all up?
I know,
Just
right? For the
rearrange
next
it.
one, yeah.
But
Nah,
they,
you got-
every single square of carpet has to come up, and
I
then
know,
it has to go back down
pulling
again.
everything out, and it's as soon as it finishes as well. So there's people still packing up the booths.
Yeah.
And you got these people that look like they haven't slept in 4 days, just absolutely stinking, arse crack hanging out and coming in and just saying some of the most fucked stuff you've ever, just in like casual conversation to each other.
Yeah,
You're like, wow, fair enough.
yeah.
But you're saying that one of those guys recognized you from, is it stand up?
Yeah, and he's like, "Hey, mate, love your work."
Oh, that's
and I'm
nice.
just like carrying a fucking heap of carpet squares and putting them in a bin. You
Oh,
know?
man,
it's
it's
very funny.
At least you don't, or I don't know if you've had it before, but you're like, oh, hey man, I recognize the comedian. Tell us a joke.
Yeah.
You ever had any people doing that with you?
Oh man, I had one recently. I made the mistake.
Yeah.
I was on a my partner and I did a canyoning tour in New Zealand.
Oh, nice.
And we're on the tour, and I never like that's our golden rule. I just say I work in a fabric factory.
I always
That's
just
what
say I'm a barista.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
unless I know the person, it's so much easier.
Yeah, it's so much easier. Anyway, for some reason, I fucking just
I know, it's that
flipped,
lapse that'll get you, right? Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, I'm a comedian."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh yeah, tell us a joke," like on the bus in front of everybody.
Oh.
And I was like, "Fuck, I shouldn't have done this."
Did you tell
My
one?
partner, no. Of
Okay.
course. I was like, and then they got to ask how good are you?
Yeah.
And you're like, I guess I could do good in front of most crowds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sure you stand up on this bus just now and give us a crisp 15-minute set, right?
Yeah. I'm like, I guess I would get 50 people from each capital city come
Yeah.
to see me. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not bad. That's most than a lot of people would
Yeah,
get.
That's it, man. Yeah.
But then it's when you're on those little tour buses as well, because you're like, I had the same thing fairly recently up in Queensland, up by Cairns, or Cairns for anyone that's not Australian. I made the same mistake of someone being like, "Oh, what do you do?" I'm like, "An actor and a stunt performer." And they're like, "Oh, wow, what
Yeah.
can I see you in?" I'm like, "You see the back of my head in Offspring."
Yeah.
And then they're like, it's just the disappointment in their face.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, okay." Fuck, all right. I'm sorry, man. And then it's again when people recognize you as well. I work as a barista sometimes, and it's
Yeah.
people recognizing you as a barista, and they're like, "I've seen you on the telly," and you're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, man. Do you
Yeah.
want sugar with your coffee?"
Yeah,
It's just the
that's
most
it.
disheartening thing ever.
Oh,
I had
man.
one person ask me to record a line that they saw me seeing from a TV commercial I did, and I was like,
Right.
I'm gonna do a hard pass on that one, thank you.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then you
yeah.
just stand there feeling like it, and you can see them walk back over to their friends, and they're really like, "There's guys on telly," and they're like, "Oh, okay," and you're like, "Oh,
I find the wrong people are always amazed by it.
Yeah,
like
it is, isn't it?
like it's always people that you're like, yeah, look, I don't want to go through this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then you got someone you do want to impress or
I
whatever.
know, right? And they're like,
who cares?
whatever.
It doesn't matter. You know, anytime you buckle, it's fucked.
Yeah.
You can't buckle.
I know, right?" And they
Yeah.
can see it in your eyes as well, and you're
Yeah.
just standing there sweating. You'll be like, "So what do you do for work?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm a pediatric surgeon." And
Yeah, yeah.
"Oh, you're saving kids' lives." I'd fall over in the dirt and sometimes try and sell razor blades. Oh, fuck, I'm sorry. You're like, it's just the absolute amount of shame that comes from it as well. But then again, like, I don't know. I don't think I would want to train in anything else as well.
I feel as I get older, I
Yeah.
do have shame about that stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of better at letting go of the shame now.
Yeah, I've
And I'm
found
less
that as well.
embarrassed.
Yeah.
But I'm at that older time in my life where also the shame hits me harder than ever sometimes, you know?
I
Like,
think it's when you're by yourself, you're alone and you're like, "Oh, fuck, what am I doing?" But then when you're out around people and things start to get a little bit better.
yeah, man. No, it's exactly it. Like, so, you know, like, yeah, recent experience. I guess I had those two awful corporates, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not a good comedian. I'm terrible.
Yep.
And I've let this guy down who's booked me twice, or, who has a constant stream of gigs kind of coming in for me.
Yeah.
And I fucking let him down,
Yeah.
And then I just did this like Bendigo, Swan Hill, and Bridgewater. These towns that.
It's funny. Some of those ones don't get anything through at all, hey? And then they're so appreciative of anyone that turns up sometimes.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Bridgewater one, the conditions weren't good. It was outside, a lot of kids,
Outside kids. Oh,
real
kids
big,
as well. Nice.
Like the comedians got eaten up, and I
Yeah.
just happened to be lucky because they
Yeah,
all
fuck
took a
yeah.
bullet for me at a break. The MC Ash Greblow, so good. He just kept powering on. A good MC just powers on, no
Yeah.
matter the conditions.
You can't show weakness, like what you were saying before as well. When you're telling about someone what you do, you can't show that little, little bit of second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly, mate.
Yeah.
I got on, and all those shows went good.
Yeah, nice.
You're in Swan Hill, the conditions are bad.
Yeah.
The lighting is terrible. It looks like a conference room.
Oh, and sometimes they don't even give you a stage. You're just standing down at the same level as everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some of that stuff's fucked.
Whereas, and I did a whole new hour there.
Oh, nice.
Like
that's
a
the new show that's coming up, is it?
Yeah, yeah. And it was all about cancer, and it's pretty
Yeah.
rude, and it was great. But I guarantee I'll go to a country town with that
Yeah.
confidence, and I'll be up there 2
Yeah.
minutes in going, what do I have any more material? You
Yeah,
know?
right. Trying to get a whole hour set out in the next 5 minutes so you can leave. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, man. But it's good also because, I've got, I guess, the experience.
Yep.
So the Bridgewater one could have been really terrible.
Yeah.
And the night before, I had the best conditions in Bendigo. Best room.
Yeah, nice.
Best crowd. And I burned them because I didn't, they still had a good show, but
Yeah.
5 to 10 people walked out when it got ordinary.
Fuck.
They were
When you
just
can
like-
see the audience walk out as well, because
Man, it's hard.
nothing more, I don't know, disheartening, or you second guessing yourself again as well, and you're like,
Yeah.
well, I should just probably stop if these 3 people don't like what I'm doing.
Well, that's it. I got a bit lost. The audience knows when you get a bit lost.
Yeah,
They
right.
know. They can detect it.
And that 2-second stumble on stage is a lifetime for yourself as well. It's just, you can fucking feel it.
Yeah, so it's awful, man. So I went from, okay, I can do all the material in my show with all
Yeah.
the details, have the sad bits,
Yep.
Whatever. And then the next night at Bridgewater, I'm like, well, this is about survival.
Yeah.
This is about survival.
Yeah, right.
It's not about, don't have your wanky start to your show.
Yep.
Get them
I'm
quick.
not up here workshopping anything like that. I'm just
No.
trying to survive.
I got to survive.
Yeah.
Anyway, I survived, but used all the new material.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
Oh, nice.
I didn't have the start to the show or anything. I had a lot of crowd work, a lot of talking to people.
Yeah.
And then, so in Swan Hill, where the conditions weren't good,
Yeah.
I was tempted to go survival mode again.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I've got them captive in this room. I got 50 to 60 people captive in this room.
Yeah.
Let's see how it go. But don't fuck around.
Yeah.
Just don't put too many sad bits in there. Get to the jokes. Get
Especially
quick.
if people aren't necessarily so familiar with stand up and stuff like that. Just tell me a fucking good dick joke. I'm not here to hear about your sad
mate.
life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're like, we fucking, but at the same, I used to do just bread and butter stuff in the
Yep.
country. But I realized that's all they get out there.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
And now they, a lot of people in the country, like my dad, and
Yeah.
a lot of his mates, a lot of them are intellectuals that return.
Yeah, right.
To the country.
Yeah.
They all go and do uni and stuff. They come back. So you
Tree
can't
change
shit
or
on
whatever it is for the later part of your life. Yeah.
them. Yeah.
So you can't just go up there and talk about John Deere tractors for 50
Yeah.
minutes. Yeah.
So I gave him the weirdest shit I could, do in the show, and
Yeah,
it was
nice.
the best run of the show. So I've got that confidence level now.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And that was the one with the kids as well, did you say?
Yeah, there was kids in this one as well.
Have you ever specifically been asked to do shows for kids before?
Nah, man, no. I've had guest spots on kids shows.
Yeah.
That they'll do at Melbourne Comedy Festival. They're like, oh, hey, you're the guy.
I never understand that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Kids, and it's not their fault. They have no attention span, and they just want people to go up there and make the loudest noises and run
Yeah.
around like mad. How do you find the little guest spots for the kid shows?
They're all right, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like mucking about, but look, I've got certain. I don't know if you've got this in acting. You
Yeah.
may have this. I've got things like rules that I stick by.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I find that okay, I'll do stand up, but I'm not going to bend in those parameters.
Yeah.
I'm not going to I've done trivia before. It sucks.
I think that's
You know,
everybody trying to find, like, oh, this is the perfect job. I can go up there, try and be funny, or just like try out new material. Like,
Yeah.
it'll be a good interaction. Everyone's just there trying to win that free pot of beer and nobody's listening to you.
Oh man, yeah. There's people that are so good at it. And
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's probably better to get people to pubs and stand up.
Yeah,
like
no,
I
that's
got a
fair
mate,
enough.
and he does trivia in the same venue as a stand up night.
Oh, yeah?
and
Get more-
he does the Wednesday and
Yeah.
stand up on the Thursday, and he's like he gets 120 people or whatever.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah,
People just
exactly.
want to
Yeah.
sit around and chat and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't do anything that really doesn't further myself much. You know,
Yeah,
I
right.
guess trivia does.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But, you know, like.
And the kid shows are a weird one as well, I suppose, in the same vein of trivia. Like, I don't think these kids are going to come out and buy a whole round of tickets for my next tour dates. Like, I don't really see the point in it. It's
Yeah, oh, well, they
odd
make a
little
lot of money.
mix, eh?
The kids
Oh, do they? Ah,
so that's
okay.
why.
That
So
makes
I'm not
sense.
like, if you asked me years ago, I would have
Yeah.
done a kid show for money. You know?
Yeah, I've done a few kid shows, just like I suppose they always have to be educational, right?
Yeah.
Like, kids have to learn stuff, so they're like touring theatre shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And pantomimes as well. Being from Scotland, fucking everyone loves their pantomimes.
Yeah.
And adults for the most part can contain themselves and not shout out the whatever's on their minds, but
Yeah.
kids do not give a shit.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah, like if you're doing a part and you're talking about stuff, and then every now and again it could just be like boring,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Fuck, that was the worst heckle I've ever
Yeah.
had."
They fully see into your soul.
Yeah, right. And they can see as soon as you start to falter, they'll get like mad. They'll,
Yeah, man.
They'll taste blood. They'll
Yeah.
come for you.
Oh, they'll get straight up. They'll
Yeah.
walk out straight away.
We had this
Yeah.
one. Sorry, I keep telling my own fucking stories on this thing. We had this one fairly recently where we were going around. We had to ask like kids to make a certain noise for an animal.
Yeah.
It couldn't be their regular noise. We went up to this one kid, and like we chose this kid, or the person I was performing with chose this kid, and they're like, "All right, what do you think the noise for the animal is?" And he went, "Ooh woo." Do you know that noise?
Yeah.
Yeah, really creepy like anime girl noise.
Yeah.
And then the partner I was performing with was like, "All right, everyone, that's the new noise." And I was like, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable making a whole room of kids, like about 100 kids making that noise." And I was just like trying to change it as much as I could to make it sound less creepy. But yeah, kids are brutal, man.
Man, it's so brutal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't do those things. I'm doing a show with Brett Blake where we have a beer tasting show and we muck about. But
Yeah,
really,
nice.
Really, it's kind of like a kid show for adults. You know,
You need more fucking
try
kid shows
three-
for adults,
three
honestly.
beers, yeah.
You get adults come along, they have a bit of fun, get
Yeah.
a little bit of piss in them. Like, interactive. A lot of time they're just sitting there and just being like, okay, I'll just sit
Well, that's
quiet
it.
for an hour.
Yeah, it's a fully interactive show, you know. So you fuck about, we do
Yeah.
do stuff. So yeah, that's kind of fun. But I guess now that I'm getting older, I'm like, oh, even that bends my parameters, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but the whole reason we did it is because you know you do want to perform at Perth Fringe.
Yeah, right.
You want to perform at Adelaide Fringe and get those hours up of
Yeah.
your show.
Yeah.
But to lose money doing it sucks. So you're
Oh.
like, oh, well, maybe I'll do something else to try and make the money back.
Yeah, if you can take like 3 or 4 shows over to any of those, like the fringe shows around Australia, like if you don't live there, for people that aren't quite as aware, like you're just
Yeah.
throwing away money essentially.
Yeah.
And like they're great fun. Don't get me wrong, I love doing them as well. Like I've gone
Yeah.
over with shows, but you have to get the right crowd in for you. You have to like make sure you're staying on a mate's couch.
Yeah.
Getting the $100 flight, which takes 20 hours to fly just over to Adelaide and stuff like that. And like,
Yeah,
it's,
man.
it's fucking tough.
It's brutal, but you know, you get your hours up and
Yeah, you do.
know, that's it. It's hard and it's weird. It's when you kind of let go of it and go,
Yeah.
it's just fucked. I don't want to do this anymore.
And you're stuck there as well. That's a rough one.
Yeah.
I did an Adelaide show a couple of years back, and like just halfway through the run, I was like, I had a couple of bad performances in me, and I was just like, I can't leave. I'm stuck
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
I know
yeah.
like 3 people in Adelaide, and then you're going out and seeing all these other fucking amazing shows afterwards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I like that? What the fuck should I take up circus now? Like,
Yeah,
just feel like
exactly,
change
man.
my career. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you get into that dark pit. And at
Oh,
the end
mate.
of the day, you're like, Oh, well.
And that's all part of it. That makes you
Yeah.
a better actor, you know, a better
Yeah.
comedian. You know, when you're on something that is actually good and there are people coming, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, you really appreciate it.
It's so
you know?
good. It's so good. But then the other times when you're stuck in a little flat share and you've been eating nothing but takeaway food for the past 5 nights and you get up in the morning and
Yeah.
you're just staring at yourself, sweating in a mirror, just feel the grease coming out from your pores
Yeah,
from
yeah.
getting burgers every night, and you're just like, is this really for me?
Man, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I'm
But
starting
then-
to be a bit wiser now. I'm starting
Yeah.
to take my own food or have salad. Or,
I know. I just
you got to have a break.
Go and, like, actually hit up a Coles or a Woolies as soon as you get there. You're like, I'm not just going to eat at all of the
Yeah.
caravans that are parked along everywhere along there. And you're like, all right, I'd actually like just to have a proper shit in the morning for once. Instead
Yeah,
of just
yeah,
feeling
man.
like crap all day. Yeah, oh dear. But yeah, I think that might be us for the day there, Nick. Thank you very much for coming on.
No problem, man.
Now, we've got a few tour dates and show dates coming up.
Yeah. So I guess Perth will still be going, but it might be one night by the time this gets released.
Well, everyone jump on that then.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm doing my show, Hold Me Closer, Tiny Cancer. It's about I got testicular cancer. It's I know it doesn't sound funny, but it's actually kind of funny because
Yeah, have a laugh, have a cry.
a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm doing that, and then Adelaide and Melbourne, and then Sydney, Brisbane, and then hopefully Newcastle as well.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So maybe Ballarat as well. Yeah, so
Nice little chunk there.
Just trying to do as many shows of it as I can, so I can record it at the end.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, man.
Do you put your shows up anywhere once you've recorded them then?
Yeah, on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, nice. And that's just Nick Capper, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I got a
perfect.
lot of. I've been working at it a bit lately, putting stuff up on there. I'm going to have some gig videos where I ride to the gig on my motorbike and I talk about them.
Nice.
Going to have that kind of shit. Yeah.
Ah,
Filmed
so-
poorly, of course.
Yeah,
But
nice, of course.
yeah.
And your show dates are going to be on a website, or do you have anywhere that people can find them?
Yes, just on my Instagram and website, nickcapper.com.
Yeah,
That's all there.
perfect.
Yeah, man.
Easy.
Yeah.
And you can find me at Seb Muirhead across most of the social media platforms. The podcast is also on most social media as well at Won't Be Forgetting That Pod.
Yeah.
I think that I'm going to be in the next episode of La Brea on NBC for anyone listening in America as well. So check that out. But I don't know how I've made it to the cutting room floor yet, so we don't know. But thanks again, Nick.
No problem at all, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.
See ya.